Today we're going to learn how to write linear equations in various forms. The three forms we have for linear equations is standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are non-zero values. The other form we have is the slope-intercept form, which is what we've been using this entire time, y equals mx plus b. And then the last form is point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1 and y1 is a point on the line. We also know that when we're given 2 points, we can find the slope of a line. We're going to label our 2 points x1 and y1, x2, y2. It doesn't matter which of the 2 points you label 1 and 2. All that matters is you label them correctly and make sure your x value is first in your point. Our y-intercept is 0, b, where b is a value. And then we have slope, which is denoted by the letter m. This triangle here means delta. Delta means the change or difference between two quantities. Make sure you write that down in your notes. All right, and that is going to be our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You may have learned to solve for the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, now we'll get into some example equations. We know that standard form is written as ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are non-zero values. And then our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And our point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I also want to point out that with slope-intercept form, you're given the slope, which is m, and then you're given the y-intercept, which is b. So it's kind of self-explanatory that, and then with point-slope form, you're given a point and you're given slope, which is m. So you're given a point, which is x comma y, and you're given slope, which is m. So a few examples, we're going to find the examples on the bottom. I'm going to start with this one. Y equals x plus 8. That looks like slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So we're going to write that one right here. Y equals x plus 8. The next one we can look at is x plus y equals 5. To me, that looks like ax plus by equals c, which is standard form. And then, let's cross those out. And then we can look at this one. Y minus 2 equals 4 times x minus 1. That looks like point-slope form. So let's write it over here. Y minus 2 equals 4 x minus 1. Let's cross that one out. And this next one, we have y minus 1 equals negative 2 times x minus 7. That's also point-slope form. Y minus 1 equals, is that negative 2? Yeah. Negative 2 x minus 7. Okay, and then we have this one, 2x plus 3y equals 1. That looks like standard form, so let's write it over here. And then we have the last one, which is y equals negative x plus 2. That will go with the slope-intercept form. All right, in example 1, it says find the slope m and the y-intercept b for the given equations. So they want us to find slope and the y-intercept. For this first one, they gave us y equals 1/3 x plus 1. This is written in slope-intercept form from what I can tell, which is y equals mx plus b. The number in front of x is our slope. So that means our slope for this equation is 1/3, and our y-intercept is 1. Now the next one, we have y equals x minus 3. Again, it's written in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. In this case, you don't see anything in front of the x. If you do not see anything in front of the x, that means it's a 1. It's normally not written. I just say it's invisible. It's an invisible 1 in front of the x. If you see an x written by itself, or if you see negative x, that really means negative 1x. But if you see just x, that means 1x. Same applies for any other variable, a, b, c, y. If you don't see anything written in front of it, it's a 1. And then our y-intercept in this example is negative 3. And the last example, we have y equals negative 2/3 x. That's still written in y equals mx plus b form. The number in front of x is our slope, so negative 2/3. And then you don't see anything written here. There's plus nothing. That means it's a 0. There's nothing there. For example 2, it says find the equation y equals mx plus b with the given slope m and y-intercept 0, b. Now they want us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So for the first example, they gave us the slope is 7 and the y-intercept is negative 2. So when I write my equation in slope-intercept form, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to write y equals m, which is 7, x plus, it's a negative 2, minus 2. So we wrote m is 7, b is negative 2. All right, the next example, they gave us the slope is 0 and the y-intercept is 4. Since they gave us a 0 slope, we would write it as y equals, if we were just to write everything out, it'll be y equals 0x plus 4. But we do not write 0x. We take it out because since there are no x's, we just take it out. So we will write it as y equals 4. And lastly, they gave us a slope of negative 1 and a y-intercept of 0. Once we write it in slope-intercept form, it becomes y equals negative 1x plus 0. But again, we do not write the plus 0, and if it's a negative 1 or a positive 1, we don't write that either. So our equation becomes y equals negative x plus nothing. You don't write anything else. So your equation is y equals negative x. If you write it as y equals negative x plus 0, it's not incorrect. It's just in the incorrect form. We just don't write it like that. You don't write the 0, and you don't write the 1. All right, now we have 3 different representations. In our first representation, they gave us a table, and they want us to write equations with the given information. So in the first example, they gave us a table. We know that we can take that table, put it in Desmos, and get some values. So let's go do that. Once you put the table in Desmos, which is my first table at the top, I can click the button on the left, those like 4 dots with the slash in the middle. I can click that, and it gives me my equation, y equals 0.333 repeating x plus 1. Now I can write that equation out on my paper because it's already written in slope-intercept form. I just want to change that decimal. Let's change that decimal to a fraction. 0.33 is 1/3 x plus, was it plus 1? Yeah, plus 1. So number 2, we're given an equation, we're given a graph. This graph is a horizontal line, and we should know that a horizontal line has a slope of 0. And then we have a y-intercept here because this horizontal line does cross the y-axis at -4. So my equation, written in slope-intercept form, would be y equals mx plus b. M is 0, so we're not going to write anything there because that would just be 0x. But our y-intercept is -4. We would write our equation as y equals -4. And then for number 3, we have a y-intercept of 3, which as a point is 0, 3, and then our x-intercept is 5, 0. I can take those 2 points, put them in Desmos, and get an equation. So let's do that right here. I'm going to hit the dots on the side, and my equation is right there. It's y equals -0.6x plus 3. And I can write that decimal as a fraction, and it's -3/5. So let's go to, is it plus 3? Yeah. Let's go back to my paper. It'll be y equals -3/5 x plus 3. All right, I want you to try that one on your own. Once you try that one on your own, pause the video. Once you're done with that, then we'll do the last one. Number 6 says, use the given slope and point to write the equation in point-slope form. Point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1 and y1 are the values of my point. So in this case, x1 is 3 and y1 is 1. So I'm going to write it out. My equation becomes y minus 1 because y1 is 1. I'm just plugging in the values, plug and chug. My slope they already gave me, which is -5. X minus x1 in this case is 3. So this is my equation in point slope form. Remember, for point slope form, you have to be given a point and you have to be given a slope in order to write it, and you just plug and chug. Now down here, number 7, they want me to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. In order for me to do that, I have to use the distributive property. So I have my equation in point slope form, which is y minus 1 equals -5 times x minus 3. I'm going to use the distributive property right here, and I'm going to distribute this -5 to everything inside the parentheses. And then my equation becomes -5 times x, which is -5x, and then -5 times -3, which is +15. And then I drag the left side down, y minus 1. And now I want to get y by itself. In order to do that, I have to move this -1 to the other side of the equal sign by doing inverse operations. Inverse operations means the opposite operation. So if I had a -1, I'm going to add 1 now. So I'm adding 1 to each side. -1 plus 1 cancels out. I'm left with y equals. The -5x drags down, and then 15 plus 1 is 16. So my equation in slope-intercept form is y equals -5x plus 16. My slope is -5, and my y-intercept is 16. All right, take those notes, glue them in your notebook, and then there should be some practice posted on the board for you to do.